What is going on, everybody? We are back on it. We're only going to do this three more times. Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 4. Um, this, in my opinion, I'm not going to say is the most crucial episode of the entire series, like from Season 1 to Season 8, but it is a very, very crucial episode. And what's wild is, like, they can't go back and change anything. Like, the season and the finale and the ending, everything's been filmed, so I'm wondering if they took into consideration last episode and the way it would have went with the public and how they needed to tell the rest of the story, because you guys saw, I don't want to make this too long or rant about it because it's all over the internet. It's been everywhere. It's been talked about for a week. Um, I kind of dove into it in my post commentary reaction for the episode, and I didn't know if I was like overreacting. Was I being too harsh? Was that just my point of view? But it like wasn't just me. It was actually like, I would say it might have been a 50-50 split, even on casuals and diehard fans. Like, you either loved um last week's episode and you were okay with everything that happened, or you were just straight up like disappointed. You can't believe they did that, X, Y, and Z. I've never read the books, but I have a lot of book reader friends, and I asked every single one of them, um, and they were also disappointed, didn't understand why. All over Game of Thrones subreddits on Reddit, people were just complaining and why and how, and it was good to see like it just wasn't me. Like, a lot of people had the same issues I had. Just off the top of my head, running through a bunch of them, like, the episode was dark AF. I know they had like the producers and some other people that worked on the episode in the season come out and talk about it. They were like, "Nope, we don't think it was too dark. It came out exactly how we wanted." But I've watched the episode on three different devices, and on my laptop and my iPad, it was like watchable. Like, it was clear. I could see everything. When I watched it live, on my TV, it was dark AF. Like, I couldn't see a damn thing. That was a major complaint. The way the long night ended in an hour, and the Night King being defeated like that was a huge complaint. I didn't mind that Aya did it, but a lot of people complained about that. And then people were like, well, what's up with the prophecies? Are there prophecies? But then you got people on the other side who are like, well, if you listen to the prophecy, it was always Aya that was meant to do it. And then you're like, what was Bran doing the entire episode? We didn't have enough character deaths. How in one shot Sam is surrounded by 50 whites, Jon is surrounded by 100 whites, and then they come back around 2 minutes later in the same exact shot, and they've only got like three whites surrounding them. Like, how are Bran? How is Brienne, Jamie, Podrick, Sam, Jon? Like, how are all these people surviving this? Jamie's got one hand. Sam is sitting on the ground crying, but they're not dead. How is all this happening? And it's just a lot of things. Like, what's the point of showing us the White Walkers if they didn't do anything the entire episode? Why did we not get Jon against the Night King, X, Y, and Z? And you've got people that are on like the loved it side, and they have a rebuttal for like everything. They're like, it's too dark because that's how the director wanted it to be. He wanted to make you feel like you were there and you couldn't see everything. Um, Jon against the Night King would just be too cliche, and if you're not paying attention, like, Game of Thrones never does that. Uh, Aya's training let her sneak past all those whites and those White Walkers and those generals, and Bran sees into the future, so of course he knew this was gonna, like, there's a rebuttal on each side, which makes me think that like the episode landed in the middle. Whatever side you're on, the fact that there's so much debate and like hate and love on both sides, I don't know if that's what they were going for, but for me, like, it disappointed and landed short. Whether that's prophecy related, whether that's lack of action with the Night King and the White Walkers and X, Y, and Z. But there's people on the other side are saying that's what Game of Thrones is always about. It's supposed to subvert your expectations. You don't always get the main character against the main antagonist. Like, it never works out like that in X, Y, and Z. Um, I will say though, like, you got to be like, Game of Thrones, like I've said, is the greatest thing I've ever watched. Since especially last season up until this season, it's gotten very Walking Dead-ish, which I know is harsh to say. Walking Dead is kind of like fairy tale-ish, where it used to be anybody could die. Now it still push you to the edge, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna die, and they get saved at the last moment. That's what I mean by like Walking Dead-ish. You're like, how did they just get? They were surrounded by hundreds of zombies. Like, how did they survive that? And at the very end, somebody comes and like yanks them out, like Torment, when they were beyond the wall trying to capture a wipe. This man's getting dragged into the water, got like 20 on him. The Hound comes and saves him. Sam is on the ground crying. He doesn't die. John is surrounded by like 100 whites. When the Night King raises his arms, they come back in another shot, and he's only got like 3 in front of him in a single file line. Jamie's got one hand, but is supposedly still fighting. Like, there's just, they've really gotten away from like nobody's safe to where they're just trying to like jump scare you, but everybody's going to be safe. But again, there's still 3 episodes to go. I've been saying this ever since Bran got out of that cave. We haven't gotten really anything Bran focused. What I think would make, I'm trying to hold out my judgment for that episode until I see these next 3 episodes. What would make me feel better is if anywhere in these next 3 episodes, give me 10, 15, 20 minutes dedicated to Bran. I know he can't see. People are saying like he gave Eye of the Cats, but to my understanding and what I've read, and a lot of book readers and like people say like Bran doesn't see into the future. And I'm on that side of the fence as well. Like, he doesn't see the future, and if he does, I think he can only fragment. I don't think he can go to the future. I think he can see fragments of him, but I don't think he knows how everything ends. I don't think he can see into the future. I thought he could see what's happening now and what's happened before. The visions we saw when he was getting pulled out of the cave, when he saw like the dragon over King's Landing and he saw like the wildfire and everything, like, was any of that from the future? I don't know. That's a whole nother episode and debate. What I would like to see, like, I thought we were gonna get it, like, even they could have given it to me last episode. Like, give me the Night King and Bran connecting and they go into a flashback together. Like, give me, I need something dedicated to Bran in these next 3 episodes, and I need it to be some kind of like explainer, or maybe the Night King isn't really dead. That would be amazing. um like, I think it would have been a great ending if, like, same thing could have happened last episode. Everything could have happened exactly how it did. And when the Night King catches Arya, he kills her, and the episode could have ended right there. That would have been amazing. And then pick up on it here. But I know we're running out of time. We've got X, Y, and Z. You can complain about it all you want. I've complained about it all week. I've talked to 20, 30 different like book readers, show watchers. I posted about it on my Facebook and my Twitter, and I've gone off about it, and I've talked to like the positive side and the negative side. I think if you're somebody that, like, if you have no emotions invested into the series and you sat down like at a bar with your group of friends and you've never seen an episode, maybe you've seen 1 or 2, and you just watched the episode as is, it was great. Like, the episode for what it was in that single episode, I thought was good. Like, it was shot great, it looked great, but for the story and everything that's been building up as a whole, it fell flat for me. If Bran just gets wheeled off into the side and he goes off the rest of the episode and we don't get anything from him the rest of the series in these 3 episodes, is going to be very disappointing, this whole wrap up here, season 8. If Bran's like, my job's done, there's nothing else for me to do, I sit and rest now, or I sit and wait for the next Three-Eyed Raven, and they just kind of wheel him off and he stays in Winterfell for the rest of his days or for the rest of the series, they messed up. And that's just me being honest. I need 10 or 15 minutes dedicated to Bran. Give me a flashback, a flash forward, flash presence. What were him and the Night King just looking at each other there? Like, what was that at the end? Give me something, give me something to work with. I don't want to dive into it. It's already been 10 minutes we've been talking about it. I don't want to go too much longer. I think, like, the Game of Thrones series, it doesn't hinge on this episode. It hinges on these next 3 episodes. Like, what do they do? Do we get any explainer about the dead, the Night King, Bran? Or do they move on like, hey, that's it. The long night's over. Winter is defeated. They wipe their hands with it. They're like, all right, let's focus on Cersei. And they move on. That's a mistake, in my opinion. So, and it was good to see a lot of people like actually had the same kind of thoughts, because there's a lot of reactors out there I watch, especially when Game of Thrones comes on. A lot of people got blinders on. They are hesitant to say anything negative about it. They're always like giving it a pass, or like, oh well, it's because of this, this, and this, and you're looking at them like, just say what you really want to say. But it was good to see the majority of people, not the majority, but I think it was a dead split in the middle, like felt the same way I felt. Like you don't hate Game of Thrones, like you just the episode just fell flat, you know. There's so much expectations and prophecies, and HBO and Game of Thrones built it up themselves, like 55 nights. The battle was spent doing it was spent 55 days to film this, and the money, and it's gonna battle Helm's Deep and XYZ, and I felt like it didn't. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm ready to go ahead and jump on into the episode. If you guys want to talk about last week's episode at all, leave it down in the comments. Again, since these episodes, I think the next three, the last ones, they're all going to be over an hour long. This one's an hour and 20 minutes. So this will be split up into two parts. So check back like an hour, 2 hours after you're seeing this episode for the second half of episode 4. Um, and we'll keep it going from there. I got my fingers crossed. I really hope Game of Thrones doesn't let me down. These next 3 episodes are going to be huge for the storyline and how I take episode 3. And we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and jump into it. He's been there protecting her since day one. And he's gone. I'm going to say Gendry sits on the throne. Oh God. Are we really doing this?
You are aware he took my family's throne and tried to have me murdered.
I didn't even know it was my father until after he was dead.
Yes. He's dead. His brother's up too.
Which makes him.
So who's Lord of Storm's End now?
I don't know.
She's giving it to him?
Did anyone?
Is she giving it to him? That'd be pretty dope.
I think you should be Lord of Storm's End.
Wow.
That can't be any better.
Here's my thing though, like, what's in it for her to do that? Does she even have that authority? Why she do that, I wonder? Out of the goodness of her heart? To show Jon that she's still in charge? Or
A fitting reward for a hero. And a Lord of Storm's End. You don't want it. I don't really want anymore. I envy you. You shouldn't envy me. Mostly I live in the past. All of it.
I really hope that's not all we get of Bran the rest of the way.
Celebrate our victory. Vomiting is not celebrating.
Like just little remarks and he gets wheeled away.
To the Dragon Queen!
I wonder how Sansa feels about that.
Fucking dragon, unforced. Become a perfect sergeant, fucking dragon. A madman. Or a king!
This is needs to be resolved at some point. That close up right there is they're gonna pan to Varys, aren't they? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. She sees Tyrion with her brother. Jon getting praise. And she's just there. Varys sees it, because he sees everything. Yeah, he's on it. He's on it.
None of it would have happened if you left King's Landing with me. No Littlefinger. No Ramsay. None of it.
He did try. He tried to protect her.
Without Littlefinger and Ramsay and the rest, I would have stayed a little bird in my life.
So is this
I
gonna,
don't know how to be lord of anything.
Is it-
I don't know how to use a fork.
is this gonna be like
All I know is that you're beautiful.
a thing now?
I love you, and and none of it will be worth anything if you're not with me. So be with me.
She's gonna say no. She. Oh God.
Be my wife. Be the lady of Storm's End.
She's gonna say no. That's not me.
You'd be a wonderful lord, and any lady would be lucky to have you. But I'm not a lady.
She's not.
I never have been. That's not me.
That's not me.
What are you doing?
Taking a shower.
I told you.
What about Cersei? He still loves her, you think, right? This we need right here. We need this. So we're just going to gloss over what really is what is, or like what are we doing, guys? Whoa, 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 whoa.
I have to tell Sansa a lie.
Sansa,
Oh shit.
you want to see me gone?
Yeah.
You want me in.
How can you tell
She won't.
those two?
She's not the girl you grew up with.
Jesus.
Not after what she's seen.
That's the last person you need
After what they've done to her.
to tell.
I owe them the truth.
Even if the truth destroys us.
It won't.
It will. You've never begged for anything. But I'm begging you. Don't do this. Please.
Clearly he's going to.
You're my queen. The queen of the Seven Kingdoms.
Damn, John put his foot down on that shit.
You command, we will obey.
He put his foot down real quick with that.
So, they formed an agreement.
Grew up with, you won't make many allies.
That's alright. I don't need many allies.
Ah, yeah.
We're family. The four of us. The last of the Starks.
Bran and John now, but
I'm having a stop.
You are. Just as much no Stark's child as any of us.
You're my brother. Not my half brother or my bastard brother.
don't do it.
My brother.
Don't. Don't.
It's your choice. I need to tell you something. You have to swear you'll never tell another soul.
What is it?
You have to swear it before I tell you.
Ragnar promised to keep a secret for Anakin after this.
Because we're family.
Swear it. By father's grave.
I swear it.
This.
So,
I gotta see their reactions to this shit. My hands are sweating. My hands are sweating. Oh wait. No, 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 no. Oh, I need.
He's going to stay here with you.
I need to see their initial reactions.
I have told one
Fucking knew it.
like looking in the mirror.
I was.
Ron of the Blackwater. Where's his drink?
I knew it. When was he gonna show up?
What are you doing up north? What are you doing? Till then, don't die.
Oh, Jesus. Now we gotta deal with that. You are not gonna cheat me out of that Sansa Arya reveal reaction. Don't do me like that.
King's Landing?
Yep.
Some unfinished business.
Me too.
I'm going to kill the queen, she says. So those two could go together. He could take out her security,
I'm coming back.
the mountain, and she could take out Cersei
Neither do I.
when he does. Yeah, Sansa's gonna need a minute.
Tyrion. What if there's someone else? Someone better?
Did we not just swear it? Did we? Oh, God.